Hello.
Kusura bakmayın.
Hello.
I,
Hello.
I guess this has to happen to someone at some stage in any call conference. So it's nice that we got it out of the way. So so quick intro in Turkish. Kusura bakmayın bu session'ı Türkçe yapacağız.
Okay.
Bu session'ı İngilizce yapacağız. Aksaklık için kusura bakmayın. Şimdi İngilizceye geçiyoruz. First of all, Graham, thank you very much for joining. Very quick introductions. On my side, I've spent the last 15 years working on enterprise automation, and I'm quite excited about what low code can achieve. And I'm quite delighted that you could make the time. And Graham joins us with more than a decade of experience, both in corporates implementing automation and AI initiatives, but also now he's part of Argos Labs, and he has worked at other enterprise automation companies as well. So he has experience both on the technology provider and also on the technology consumer side. He leads Argos Labs in EMEA, and Argos Labs enables low-code automation that can be built very quickly by any developer and any non-technical person, automating their daily processes using AI as well as rules-based automation techniques. And we would like to start with a quick question on understanding future of work, because as you know, Graham, today we are trying to understand how people can make their daily work better using AI and automation. Could you share with us how a day in the life of a future worker is going to be, let's say, from a couple of years from now on, using existing technologies?
Of course. Thank you. Thank you ever so much, and good morning to everybody. So if we look back to just over 10 years ago, we had paper, and that paper we had documentation, and then that documentation was carbon copied, and then that carbon copy was into an in tray, a pending tray, and a out tray. So we moved from the writing side of our process and then started using Windows and started using technology. And majority of people weren't even trained to give any technology or any kind of support of how we're going to deliver our solutions. So part of what we can see now moving forward is to enhance you and your workforce is that we shouldn't be pressured into training. We shouldn't be pressured into telling you what you've got to do. What we want to do is give you the right tools in your toolbox so you can do the right job with the right tool. So I'm dealing with people that's not actually very aware of technology. I'm dealing with people who are frightened and still are not used to technology, such as a garage owner. A garage owner can really get involved into the technology of what he's doing for his day job. However, he and she have still got to do that day task of looking after the garage, making sure they've got the fuel, making sure they've got the tires, the filters and everything else that they've got to do. This is where they use technology. And what I'm trying to do is bring this into a world where everyone can use automation, but also not be frightened of it.
Yeah, that's quite exciting indeed. And what do you think are the first steps for non-technical people to get started with automation?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to say, so one thing I've realized, and depending where the business is, and last year I was lucky enough to be working around the whole of Europe, and everyone has got their own challenges with technology, especially with the language, the barriers between the whole of Europe. But it's something that we shouldn't be frightened of. And technology, you can't break it unless you physically drop it or throw it out the window. But it's technology where you can actually practice and practice and practice, try, fail, and practice. And something that I've always mentioned in everything I do, it's better to fail than to fail to try. So by trying and looking at the way that technology is moving forward, you can do it. And it's not life-threatening. So there is networks and there is people out there that can actually help, and they do help people to actually to work. Same as WhatsApp, same as Instagram. All these applications don't have any rule books. They're just free, intuitive ways of actually learning. My iPhone doesn't have a manual. So it's, again, people are using their phones, but they're not using it fully. But they can use and start to make calls. They can use to start making photos and using technology. And that's what it's about. It's not to be frightened of. It's just something to embrace.
And do you think we are there, that automating a process can be as easy as using an application on your phone?
Not yet, but we will be. We will be. So applications on the phones. I downloaded an application this morning with Nikon. So with the Nikon camera, and I wanted to take photographs from my camera and put it onto my phone. There's no rules. It was just a case of connect via Wi-Fi, phone connect via Wi-Fi, and connected. There you go. All my photos transferred from my Nikon camera straight across to the iPhone. I'm not looking at how it's working. I'm looking that I want to do that task. And that's exactly the same as automation. It is about, I don't care how it works behind the back of the scenes. I want it to work. And how can I make it work? And just by little steps, you can leap forward and backwards and play with the tools. And that's the key thing, is just playing with the tools.
Yeah, definitely. And can you give some examples on some initial things that people can start playing with? Like, for example, I heard quite a few examples on automating things like LinkedIn outreach or Excel operations. But yes, yeah, would be good to hear from you.
So okay, let's put it back into my daughter. My daughter is 12 years old. Last year she was 12. This year she's 13. And when I introduced her to automation and understanding what can be done, she then came up with a couple of school ideas of saying, right, if I've got my own personal robot, how can I do it? So she made it so she went to a shopping or grocery shop, such as Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Aldi, Lidl, and she made sure that went into each of their website and pulled in all that type of shopping that she was looking after. So she created a shopping list. Then she went into Sainsbury's, then she went into that and got the price. And then she came back with the price and put it on an Excel spreadsheet. And then as she slowly started to build this, she could then see who was the cheapest to actually go and shop. So she finished that and then said, right, okay, how can I do the next one? The next stage is authentication, where you can actually allow your bot to use your credit card, your debit card, your bank details to go and pay for that. But also what she's trying to do, and it's coming out, which is really well, is trying to book a slot so you can get your groceries delivered to you. So that's a very, very simple process that a 12-year-old actually did. However, going back to the garage owner, the only time that the garage owner actually makes money is when there's a motorbike on the ramp and they're tinkering, playing, sorting that vehicle out. But they don't make any money when they're on the IT machine. So part of that, in the UK, we've got an MOT, Motor Register of Transport. It's making sure the vehicle is serviceable. So they check the vehicle, then they go to the government website, put in your VRN, your vehicle registration details, and put all the lists and everything else all the way through. That is an extra 15 minutes that the operator has got to type into the machine. So wouldn't it be nice to take, as I explained to a friend of mine, is to take a photo of the registration of the vehicle, goes straight to an email box, the robot pulls up their email, goes to the government website, logs in the details, passes the vehicle or fails the vehicle, or passes some comments on, and then that's done. So that 10 minutes times by every single day by 50 cars, you're saving 4 or 5 hours of literally manual inputting of data by just taking one photograph while you're inspecting the vehicle. That's a very simple. It really is very simple. And that's just normal day-to-day activities.
Bit is definitely interesting, price comparison. We also have that problem a lot while buying software. I was recently buying software to identify web visitors,
Yes.
the companies of our web visitors, and there are really 10 to 20 players in that space. So building a simple crawler, of course, makes a ton of sense when you repeat this multiple times. Other than data inputs, can you give a few more examples on the automation that any employee could be using?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so perfect one. This is something that I have always used and I've been using for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So automation is expensive, and it is expensive to get the servers, to get the IT, to deliver, to do everything else, and it's so expensive. So some modern tools like ours, Argus Labs, it's very reasonable and it's cheap. But imagine now that if you have got a team of 10, 20, 30 or 100 people and they all take a holiday or vacation, you go into your team's Excel spreadsheet, you check if anybody else is on holiday at that particular time, you take that vacation, and then you then send it to your line manager, your boss, and ask them to, if it's okay, then yes. And then you then go into the HR tool to book that holiday. So, and then once you book that holiday, you then go into Outlook, and then you tell everybody within your team that you're taking that holiday break. And then when that holiday comes up, you then go back into Outlook to put yourself out of office. And then when you come back and put yourself back in office again. And then you go into the HR system, say that you're back again. So that whole end-to-end process over time for one holiday is over 15 to 16 minutes long. Now, times that by 100 plus people, and times that by doing it 8 or 9 times a year, you're saving days and days of work, all by doing one holiday that you don't get paid for, but you're wasting time. And it's that kind of time that you can actually reutilize and save by merging technology together, creating an automation platform, interacting with you, your team, and everybody else, but also delivers a success rate of 100%, because there's a process there that we all know that works, because we all want vacation.
Yeah, definitely, and that's quite a practical example indeed. And though some of these are relatively small steps in every individual's life, like it's 15 minutes, it's 20 minutes, but when you look at hundreds of people, it is a ton of savings. So what could organizations, for example, especially the HR organization, do to enable such savings? And this could be in two ways. It could be either encouraging employees to improve their work, to automate their work, or it could be more central initiatives identifying inefficiencies for all of the employees and tackling them head on. What are the best practices you have seen there, and some recommendations for the HR teams?
Okay, so within the human resource area, everybody needs to come to the company. Everyone needs to get registered with the company, as well as people arriving. You've got people leaving the company. So that means the access systems, all the application systems, all the rules and everything else, the emails, applications, passwords, all need to be declined and stopped, because there's no one there. But also it's got to be built back up again. So you need a payroll number, you need your account details, you need all the good stuff that you need. Now, part of being this citizen developer is it's up to you as a user to actually create a better way of working. And having your own desktop automation, it means that you can better your time to the things that are more important, the things that are more important for you. If you create an automation solution as a citizen developer, and years ago, people didn't like citizen developers because IT wanted to keep control of any development. But now this terminology called citizen developer, it means that you guys can actually do your own engineering of your own solutions, of your own day-to-day work. And we shouldn't be frightened of that. We should be always challenging that I want to make my job better, efficient, and easier. So once I've done a particular role, I can then recreate that automation little box and then pass it on to other people and other people and other people. Because there's lots of people in HR, depending if you're a global or local company, that are still doing the same tasks. And by giving, such as Argos Labs, is that you're giving people their own individual environments to play with, you can build up a huge amount of backlog and a storyline of where you can actually improve everybody's process. And HR is inundated. It is a huge area and a good place to actually start. But instead of bringing IT in, you need the people who do the processes to help build their own automation solutions.
And I guess the first step is bringing a tool in. But how do you motivate people to use that? Like, have you seen any best practices around that? Let's say, you have bought a low-code automation solution. So, what is next?
Okay. So what I did when I first started automation, the IT, the center of excellence that I used to be part of, didn't understand the business process. And that's the biggest problem, where you've got a business user, then you've got a business analyst, and then you've got IT, and then you've got the developers all trying to translate of what the business user is doing. So what I did was I introduced automation champions. I gave them a day's training of understanding how to build a process map, within that day, understanding what the automation tool we use, understand what the engineer is trying to do and trying to build that solution. So by the end of the day and 2 days, depending which team were, they can actually then provide me with multiple potential scenarios where we can automate. Now, when I say multiple, obviously depend on the return on investment, the cost of development, the cost of everything else. But I was using IT. And years ago, we didn't have that chance of everyone doing their own automation solutions. So I brought that into a company I used to work for, Viva. And then I moved to Thomas Cook, which is a travel industry, and I brought that in again. And it's bringing the process professionals who do that job day in, day out. I've actually given them the right tools so they can do it themselves. And then from a center of excellence, you can make the ones which are actually working, and then you can scale them. And you can scale them so you can sell them to other parts of the business, because we've got lots of verticals within our business. And trying to go along the parallel is actually trying to bring in people who are using the same systems each time is very complicated. But by bringing the people in first, then you find your processes are very quick wins, because the majority of the work has been done by the people who do the tasks. Just what we've got to do is just give them the right tools to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And so we give them the tool. We create champions, but these champions, they're going to be in quite different lines of businesses, and they will be looking at quite different processes. How do you enable that with a single tool? What's the trick there?
So number one is understand your audience. So the audience that I played with were people from contact center, and the contact center staff that are literally have come from university, they've come from education, and they started in that career listening to the customer, understanding the product. And what I started doing is interacting with these guys and girls and listening to them, what they do, watching them with keyboard skills. And it's amazing now that universities still do not teach, and we don't teach as employees, keyboard skills. The faster that I can input, the faster that I get information across. We're still using 1 or 2 digits and maybe 2 or 3. So in the military, when I was part of the military, they helped and trained data inputters to keyboard. So you had infantry, engineers, you had armored, all these kinds of soldiers, all learning how to touch type. So if you bring that now into our business, surely it would save time by give people touching type skills. We used to do it years ago, before my time, with typewriters. We used to have the typewriting test, but we don't do it now all of a sudden with a keyboard. And guaranteed that we don't actually use our voice to write messages or emails, even though the function is there. The function with Word, the function with Excel, the function with an email is that you can actually fill in by voice to text, but we don't use it. We're still using these 2 digits. So when I started looking into the way that guys and girls are actually working, what they do things, and it's amazing what you can do by just watching, observing, and saying nothing. And then once you start with 1 and 2 and 3, and you start identifying these particular people, these particular characters, and these characters have got certain IT and technology advances. And once you've got that one person on side, you can then show them the tool. And then you show them the video, then you show them the training, then you show them how to do that one task. And once you've done that one task, that joy that actually they don't have to do that task no more because the robot's doing it, either attended or unattended. And especially with low code, because they can actually do it themselves. They can see the solution actually appearing in front of them. The excitement of 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, positivity spreads far better than negativity. And that is where you're bringing in and you're making sure your communications, you're making sure you're the right people, they've got the right mindset. And those people which have got those negative thoughts actually slowly start leaning towards, I like this, I want to get involved. And that's the key thing, is being positive. It will always not work, but you know what? When it does work and it's there, you get a lot more people on site, and people start to take leaps of faith in by building their own automation solutions. And it's great. It's great to see, and I love it. I really do.
I mean, saving time, everybody loves that.
Yes.
that I completely agree. Whenever there's a successful automation project, the results are pretty cool to see. So finally, there's as you know, various automation jargon flying around. Like there's now machine learning and AI and deep learning, and in short, I mean, there is ways of leveraging machine intelligence in automation as well, and I really appreciate that some companies are trying to make their product easy to integrate and opening it up to different solutions. So you can pull in a machine learning module from another provider directly into your solution and quickly use that. Can you also mention a bit how Argos is approaching integration and enabling different capabilities within the tool?
Yeah, of course, no problems. So one thing with Argos Labs is low code. That means you can do it, but also that you get it is free, so you can develop your own individual platforms and solutions. It's fine. But what we can do is provide a solution, so an end-to-end solution. I was working yesterday with Shige, the CEO, and he created a solution just in front of you. He used 5 different OCR tools. He built them that were actually, one is Tesseract, one is Louis, one is OCR, which is on Google, and it's all there. It's all free. It's all free, and it's API. And then you can actually build a plugin. And you grab that plug and say, right, I want to read an OCR tool using Google. There you go. There it is, plugged in. That's it, done. The back end is using APIs, using Python, using machine learning and everything else. But all I want to do is say, right, I want to use that. And if it works every time, that's what I keep using. And by building these plugins, you slowly start to build this Lego set of a solution, little bricks building on building and building. And part of what Argos wanted to do is actually you guys build your own solutions for using a CRM tool, using an Excel process, using a website, and you can then sell it on. So you can make your own revenue by building your end-to-end solution. So if you've got a Word, an email, an Excel, here you go. We use that, they use that. And depending on all the applications, the different systems we're using, such as banking, heavy industry, Nike, software companies, we all do the same process. And by doing that and identifying a solution, you can actually have rewards by selling that on as a solution with the platform. And that's key, because you can actually build and keep building, and it's up to you. It's down to you what you need to provide a solution, because it's so exciting that you can actually take ownership. You can then build your own RPA solution, and then on top of that, you can make a revenue from it, and it's on the marketplace. And shortly, we want to publicize and start selling this on Amazon, so that you can have your own automation platform on Amazon. So imagine going to Amazon and buying a couple of for your cup of tea, buying a keyboard, buying everything else. Oh, I'm going to buy a robot. I buy a software robot. And then once you open it, the community can help you then design, deliver, and to do your automation processing. So like Hive or like integrated light bulbs or integrated technology, you can do that. You can add things, and it's you that can actually provide the solution. And we are here to provide you the platform.
Graham, that's super exciting, and I leave our listeners to check out the platform. But thank you very much indeed for your time. I hope we provided practical advice on getting started with enterprise automation. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you very much. Please keep safe.